Hello, and welcome to Warhammer 40k's Grim History from the Beyond. I am Zeckthar.
And I'm Yuksen.
We are the chroniclers of all that was, and all that will be in the 41st millennium. We've seen the rise and fall of many empires. And this week, we'll be looking at those short, hairy fellows that dwell round the galactic core, the Leagues of Votann.
Yes, these small individuals go by many names across the galaxy. Watts, Demiurge, Greg, Prom, and Space Dwarfs. But to the people of the Leagues, they are simply known as the Kin and the Iron Kin.
Quite right, Yuksen. And this month, we will be discussing how the Kin deal with other species of the galaxy, as well as discussing their own personal views, combat doctrine, and technology.
I can't wait, Zeckthar. Well, where should we start?
Well, this week, Yuksen, I think it only fitting and proper that we discuss Votann technologies.
Absolutely. Mind if I start this Vox about the Votann's exquisite armor?
Why, not at all, dear brother. Please, carry on.
Now, before we dive into this, I'd like to admit something.
What?
Well, you know how I sometimes watch videos of our Terran 42 friends at Chrono on YouTube.
Yes, I watch them too. It's such a great channel.
Well, I've noticed that people have been listening to our Voxes, and I have to say that I never thought 178 people would actually be following us on YouTube, or that 48 people follow us weekly on Spotify. I mean, it's nice to know that people actually enjoy our conversations.
Indeed, Yuksen. And on behalf of both of us, I would like to give my humble thanks and appreciation to those who listen. Why, when Yuksen and I started this whole thing, we never dreamed so many people would be interested.
Agreed. I just wish we could get a better idea of how many people do enjoy it. It'd be awesome to get some more of you people to subscribe, follow, or even just comment and ask questions.
Righto, brother. But, I believe you were going to start this Vox about the League's armor?
Yes. Well, before we go into their armor, I feel that we need to discuss the void suits they wear. This void suit is an example of a no-nonsense approach the Kin used to technology. It is threaded with bastium alloy reinforcement and fitted with thermoregulatory radiation-hardened underlayer that allows it to double as rugged utility wear and fully functional spacesuit when paired with a helmet. It is studded with connector relays that allow coupling up of everything from exoframes and pressure rigs to reinforced void armor. So it's kind of like the same as a Space Marine's black carapace without it being, fused into you.
Right. Well, not only that, but it sounds like it's got more like features that can actually attach to different things.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't the carapace skin for the Astartes, isn't that really actually just designed just for power armor?
Well, power armor and Terminator armor.
Okay, armor in general.
And possibly Dreadnought. I'm not sure about that, though.
I don't know. That's actually kind of an interesting question. I wonder if the carapace anyways follows with them. I'm guessing that maybe it doesn't, and it does at the same time, just simply because if the person's so badly wounded, I mean, I'm sure a lot of that's just gone, so they have ways around it. I mean, if you've just got the head of the guy left,
create it in a different place, because we know how much we treasure people feeling pain or not.
Right, because we're the Imperium and we care. Do you think that sarcasm actually reached out across the void?
I certainly hope so.
I hope so too.
Well,
sorry.
Let's move on to the void armor. It is basically their standard armor, standard field troopers armor. It's a type of armor that obviously is used by them, hence we're talking about it. And it consists of hardened jointed segments that are hooked into the void suit, which we mentioned before.
Excuse me. So like, for instance, when you're talking about like the armor anyways, but the void suits are worn by everybody, right?
They can be worn by anybody.
Okay, so like, for instance, you've got miners anyways. They probably aren't wearing armor. They're probably wearing their void suit and it's attached to like, their drills or whatever have you, kind of thing, as opposed to when you're talking about a combatant, they're literally, it's just attached to the armor like Astartes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is also slightly different anyways from the carapace skin. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
So the armor is fashioned from magnaferrite weave and often reinforced with adamantine and enhanced with microfield generators. So imagine a suit of power armor that doesn't enhance person's strength except for it's more durable.
Okay, so that's where it really does definitely differ from Astartes power armor, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're just so the kin are just strong enough anyways that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So do these guys have any other types of armor?
Well, there's the armor that's the trademark of the Einhir, or the veterans of the Hearthkin.
Ah.
And that is the Exo Armor, which is a massive servo-assisted suit of power armor that's capable of shugging off anti-tank fire and massively enhancing a wearer's might in battle.
So that means that it actually makes them move faster?
Faster, stronger.
Okay.
It's kind of like Terminator armor for the Astartes.
So yeah, so these guys, by the way, the Einhir, they're like the honor guard for Astartes, or like the Necrons Lich Guard, right?
Right.
They get the best, beefiest stuff.
Right.
Because they're the best of the true, the proud. Those guys.
Right.
Okay. Is there anything else that's kind of interesting about this armor?
Also similar to, for example, Terminator armor, because it's bigger, can handle more stuff. Also, you can add more heavier armaments to it, like the mass hammer, vulcanite disintegrators, ion cannons.
Right. It kind of reminds me of did you ever see that Terran 42 movie Triple X?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a part in the movie anyways where he's got this whole string of armaments, and it's like,
I want all that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much what the Exo armor is. Is the Einhir. They grab all this stuff and they're just like, I want all that on this. And
then the guy goes,
okay.
No.
Oh, what? No? Oh, why not?
You cannot fit all of this in that. I can use this huge thing and be able to stick it on you, and you can use it like you could use probably a standard gun, but no.
Okay, so this is more like so instead of, like, for instance, a VX-88 Mark Tau, what do they call mech? This is more like a suit of Terminator armor, so they can only get like a couple things strapped onto the shoulders,
right?
As opposed to the mech, anyways, where it's just like, yeah, it's kind of a walking tank.
Yeah, I can put a huge gigantic railgun on it. No.
Okay. Fair enough.
That would be ridiculous to see on a kin to begin with.
That would actually be kind of funny.
Like 30 feet long on this 4-foot tall. Well, sorry, with the armor, probably maybe 6 feet tall at the most.
He shoots the thing, he goes flying back 50 feet.
Yeah. No. Because they're kin, they'll have made an adjustment that reduces the recoil.
Right. So he'll only go back 10. Anyways, do they have any other kind of things of armor? Like, did they have shields or
yes, they have force fields.
Oh, okay. What are they like?
Commonly is their weave field projectors, which they use for anything from just personal armor to something that covers a unit to vehicles and spaceships. It's
I was just going to ask how it worked.
Well, the system employs an energy weaving technique called weave work, which interlaces energy frequencies common to both refractor and conversion technology. This is interlinked with more exotic energies, such as magnetic repulsor fields. The resultant multi-spectral shield is maintained either, as I mentioned before, like in a personal cowl, something else built onto something, or as a protective dome to better shield entire squads of kin.
Okay. But weaver work. Or weave work?
Weave work.
Weave work. Huh, that sounds actually kind of interesting. Hey, have you checked out the armory recently?
The armory? What in particular are you thinking of, dear brother?
You know, it would be so much nicer if we could actually talk in our regular language as opposed to this low Gothic. It drives me nuts. But
Or
anyway,
high Gothic. Or any Gothic.
any of it. It's all terrible. I know. I actually happened to pick up something from a distant land or world or universe. You know, we're just gonna. You probably wouldn't like it, but I thought it was cool. It was a flying carpet. It used weaver work. It was just all right.
Okay.
Oh no. Okay, it was actually kind of cool. We found this thing anyways, and it was this carpet. Right. Turns out that okay. So have you heard of Terran 42's? Oh, what do they call it? It was
You wouldn't by any chance be thinking of Aladdin, would you?
yes, that's one of the stories, but it's the Arabian Nights.
Right.
The whole tale of the Arabian
Right.
Nights. And one of those happens to be about Aladdin.
Aladdin, Alibaba,
Mhm.
and
Well, there's a bunch of them. I mean, the whole
one
concept
where
of
the guy ends up killing. Yeah. Anyways.
the whole concept of the Arabian Nights is that this one woman keeps telling the Sultan anyway stories every night,
So
so
he
that
doesn't get murdered.
right until eventually the Sultan falls in love with her and her storytelling, and it's actually got this. It's actually a really cool story worth actually reading. But with Aladdin, anyways, there's a point, anyways, where he has a magic carpet, right?
Right.
And that kind of intrigued me. And I was talking to, ironically, Kronos, the guy, anyways, why we're stuck in this whole situation here now.
Right.
He actually felt really bad about the whole situation about us coming over and helping him. So he actually sent us a gift. And it was this magic carpet. That's what he called it. But turns out, anyways, they used actually very similar technologies to the Weaverwork of the Leagues of Votann. And they actually have force fields on both sides of this carpet so that if you move one way or the other, it actually uses the friction of the ground, anyways, and scoots you forward. So it doesn't necessarily really fly, but it hovers pretty well and you can zip along pretty cool. You should test it out when we're done with this whole box.
That still doesn't make up for what he did to us.
True. And he knows that. I even said, I was like, this doesn't make us even, right? And he goes, yeah, I know, but it gets me closer, right? I'm like, we'll see. I'll talk to Yuksen about it. So I guess I'll go ahead and tell him anyways, no. Well, anyways, sorry to get harder. Yeah, try harder. Yeah. So real quick though, is there any other kind of armor? Do they have, like, for instance, shields? I mean, as space dwarves, it would seem like it'd make sense they had shields.
No, not really.
Not really? Oh, okay. Well, if you don't mind, anyways, then I think we should get to the thing that everybody's been looking forward to, and that would be the weapons. Now, Yuksen, we both know that the technology of the stunties is far better than the Empire of Man, correct?
Yes, but must we call them stunties?
I'm sorry. I was actually just reading about an orc war boss, Grimskull, and I've been reading through their stuff, and I just got a little carried away. Anywho, another reason for the debate as to whether the Ken are Xenos or Abhumans is the fact that many of their weapons obviously have the same background as many Imperial weapons, such as the bolter and the las rifle.
Now, Zeckthar, if I recall right, you covered both of these weapons in becoming a space wolf, correct?
Correct. And while I will not bore you fine listeners with repeating myself, if you do have queries about the bolter and the las rifle, feel free to check out our Vox called Becoming a Space Wolf 5-16-23. But with the Votann weapons, just know they're more powerful and have better accuracy thanks to the haptic utility nerve transmission recaliper, or HUN-TR for short. The HUN-TR is an advanced firearm targeting system employed on all man-portable ranged weapons used by the infantry forces of the Leagues of Votann, and also on many of their vehicle-based weapon systems. How the module works is it meshes with the standardized neuroaugmetics, which establishes a physical and haptic input feedback loop between the kin firearm and the user. Its sensors trigger minute gravitational assistant pulses from projectors built into the weapon's body, helping to maintain a stable firing platform, even while the wielder is running full tilt across the battlefield. being jostled by shell impacts, or just letting fly with a weapon from a moving vehicle. Did you get all that, Yuksen?
Yes, basically what it is it's a neurological augmentation that allows you to basically shoot more stably, whether you're running or not, or if you're in a moving vehicle or not.
Right. It's a neurostabilizer. The Hun TR modules are integral to the typical Kin tactics and relentless advance while maintaining punishing volleys of massed fire. When coupled with the Kin's natural dense muscularity and excellent training, the Hun TR modules can prove tremendously effective force multipliers on the battlefield. Now, two of the most common altar weapons you will see on the battlefield are the High Las auto rifle and the Ion Blaster. The High Las, or more formally known as the High Yield Laser Auto Rifle, is a powerful man-portable laser weapon used by the Kin. The weapon possesses an extremely long range and both a high rate and high yield of laser fire for excellent stopping power, making it one of the more preferred ranged weapons deployed among the Hearthkin warriors, the Kin's primary troops of the line.
So think of a extremely souped up Laz rival of the Imperium.
Yes, exactly. Now, the Ion Blaster is a man-portable, long-range, directed energy ion weapon, also that is used by the Kin. This weapon typically is capable of engaging enemies at long range and high energy streams of ionized subatomic particles, vaporizing flesh and metal with equal ease. These high energy ions containing an electric charge are accelerated by an electromagnetic field and react explosively with the target as a result of the direct transfer of energy at an atomic level. Both the High Las and Ion Blasters are standard military armaments of the Short Fellows, but I would be remiss if we did not talk about their truly standardized weapon, the Autok Bolter. I seem to have lost my paperwork on that. You might take this one?
Yes, the standard bolts of the Autok bolter comprise of the following components: the outer casing, propellant base, main charge, massive reactive detonator cap, depleted deuterium core, and a diamantine tip. The caliber of the standard round is a 75 cal, and it possesses a, brother, you covered all this in our Vox of becoming a space wolf, yes?
Yes. Yes, I did. No, I didn't describe the Autok bolter, but I did go into a deep dive on the Mark VB Goodwin pattern bolt gun.
Ah, yes, the trusty Mark 5B.
Yes.
Well, let's face it, the Autok bolter follows a similar design, but is simply better. Is more accurate due to the Hunt TR tracking system, and it's more powerful and reliable because of the way it's made by the Kin.
Oh, I see. So what you're saying is that if someone wanted to know how this particular gun works, they could just go back to our previous Vox around minute 22 of how to become a space wolf and listen to it there?
Precisely.
Oh.
But don't worry, brother. I have a plan to fill time.
Really?
Yes. Another live fire demonstration. As you know, the bolter has a unique sound to it that causes fear in the enemies, excluding orcs, of the one firing, and I happen to have an Autok bolter right here that I pulled from the armory.
That sounds great, but also keep in mind it also doesn't really affect the Tyranids or the Necrons, those guys either. But sorry, that does sound great.
Indeed. Now, where's Bob? So he can put up a target for me. Bob?
Bob is still broken after the last live fire demonstration.
Really? Well, how am I supposed to shoot him? I mean, that's too bad.
Yes, it really is. But remember, dear listeners, if you wish to help us rebuild Bob, please support our podcast on Spotify.
Yes. Support.
Just go ahead and click on the link in any of the descriptions on our Voxes, and that money will go straight away to fixing Bob.
Yippee.
Now, brother, that demonstration? Wow, that does sound impressive. But tell me, Yuksen, what do you think of all these ranged weapons that we've discussed?
Pretty much all of them, it seems either the Imperium has ripped them off, or well, we know the Tau actually traded with them, and that's how they got
Right.
the gain of their ion technology. Of course, still inferior to,
The kid.
but
So, real quick though, before I carry on, anyways, to their melee weapons, where do you kind of rank these guys, anyways, with their weapon technology?
I would put it towards they are much
Your range stuff,
higher.
much higher. So
Yeah,
more
much
like,
higher.
I don't know, like Necron Gauze weapons, much more along those lines.
Yeah,
So
much closer to that than, like, say, the Eldars.
jeez, must you bring up the Eldar? I mean, the Eldar's weapons are actually pretty cool. They're just they're super advanced, but really backwards. They don't make any sense.
Well, let's just put this way: their standard weapon
Is a
is a
shuriken shooter.
catapult
Yes, we
hook.
know. We know. But at the same time, anyways, they use other things too. I mean, like they've got a gun, anyways, that shoots dark matter. Dark matter, Yuksen. Okay, we could go another 5 rounds on this, but instead, I think we should get on to the Kin's melee weapons, shall we?
Yes.
Right. So the melee weapons of the Ken are normally, anyways, known as concussion weapons. And they're in the shape of, like, for instance, warhammers, mauls, or just reinforced armor gauntlets. And how they get this to work, anyways, they mount the so-called mass driver technology that magnifies the force of their impact to a colossal degree, producing a wave of concussive force far greater than what would be created by a simple mass of the weapon itself. So it like the easiest way of describing this is, like, for instance, you've got Vulcan, right? The guy we just talked about, the salamander dude. He's got a giant warhammer. Take that warhammer, anyways, and you try to hit it into a wall. Well, actually, you couldn't use that warhammer because that's a power weapon, so it pretty much does the same thing. Okay,
Let's
take it.
say it was his smithing hammer.
There you go. All right, take his smithing hammer, and you tried to, like, bang it into a wall, right? You're gonna get some of the stone wall. Some of that stuff, anyways, is gonna fall apart, unless, of course, it's Vulcan doing it himself. In which case, I mean, the wall is coming down, but that's because it's Vulcan. Let's say we take you, fine listeners, and you try doing that. It'll just kind of, break apart the wall, anyways. As opposed to if you take one of these concussion weapons, anyways, take a hammer the same size, activate it, and slam it into the wall's coming down. It's just gone.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So they're, and one of the reasons, by the way, they came up with these weapons is because of their most hated foe, the orcs. They were used to actually, okay, so the Votann's tactics, anyways, is that we march in a steady line, right? And we shoot at everybody in front of us, which kind of makes sense. The problem they found, anyways, when doing this against the orcs is that the orcs don't really like to just stand in lines and shoot at people. They like to get in close and use their choppas. So they had to come up with some sort of melee weapons, and they came up with this, which kind of makes sense. And if I recall right, anyways, this originated from mining equipment, didn't it, Yuksen?
You mean like almost everything else that they make their stuff? Well, not everything, but
not everything.
Actually, that's the incorrect statement. But
you're kind of digging yourself a hole there, Yuksen, aren't you?
Yeah.
but it did actually come.
That's actually a completely inaccurate comment that I just made. But yes.
Here, let me give you a leg up. So the concussion weapons, anyways, originated from mining equipment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, before I don't think we have a whole lot of time left, anyways. But are there any other types of weapons that the kin use actually in hand-to-hand combat? The only ones I really found that they used normally, anyways, were concussion weapons.
Actually, they also have weapons that they wreath in plasma fields, and
Ooh.
or
What?
the blades themselves are made out of the plasma fields, and basically they slice through things like a power weapon would, except for it's the kin, so better.
Right. So
On
wait a
the
minute.
other hand,
They infuse plasma on top of a weapon. Did I get that right?
they use plasma fields generally either to wreath a blade or in some cases to create a blade by itself. Why they would
Wow.
form it around a blade if they can just do it by a blade itself, who knows?
It's probably
Uh,
less volatile if you've got it, like welded to it.
yeah. Well, and the fact that they tend to like make things like scythes, so yeah, I can kind of see that, Generally,
Right.
you think plasma fields a straight edge, so you need
Right.
something to kind of hook it.
Right.
But also, they have probably the most deadliest close combat weapons are made from a dark star ore, which is mined from the fringes of the dead zones.
Oh.
And this material emits a universal clamping field that shuts down organic and mechanical function at contact. At contact. In other words, if this thing cuts you, you die.
So let me get this straight. They put dark matter into a melee weapon.
That was conveniently built into ore. So they have this ore that's basically dark matter that they're
Oh my
able to
word.
somehow shape and put into a weapon.
Well, don't cut
And if
yourself
they
shaving
cut
doing that.
you, yeah, and if they cut you, you're like dead.
Yeah.
There is no coming back from this. There is like either you
Really
did get cut
sucks the life
or
out of you.
you are now gone.
Jeez. Wow.
Obviously, there isn't a lot of this laying
I
around, or else.
figured.
Uh,
Not only that, but that's like super dangerous to the wielder. And I mean, you know, in our armory, how all the swords that we've got, you know how many times I've cut myself on all those swords? just a just a little nick and you're done, huh?
yep,
So what happens if you get hit by a
like flicking
backswing?
a switch. What?
Well, okay, here's another question. What happens anyways when it hits a different weapon?
I assume it just sliced right through it.
Even like a power weapon?
I'm guessing, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then they should have more of them. I mean, if you could literally just like march through a line anyways and just and they should make them into
Of
spears.
course, on the other hand, you'd have to be very good at wielding a weapon, or else, yeah,
No, you
you'd
wouldn't.
probably lose like half your force. In other words, if you did that,
No, just
just
put it on the tips of
trying to
spears.
make it.
Just put it on the tips of spears. Just give them giant shields, anyways. March forward and just barely touch people. That's all you got to do. That's what it sounds like. Jeez. So there's no armor, anyways, that can combat against this. No weapon.
Not really.
Jeez. Yeah, they should make more of those. Well, I hate to say it, Yuksen, but our time is up.
Whoa.
What?
You're not going to talk about the mole launcher?
Wait. They can have a mole launcher? It launches
Yeah.
moles? Well, that sounds like something,
Whoa.
anyways, we definitely have to talk about. Go ahead.
Well,
Tell me about this mole launcher.
they may have originally launched actual moles, but it actually uses explosives from mining equipment now, anyways. See, when they originally say mole launcher, I think of like, since it's like a
bunker
grenade
buster.
launcher, they must have filled moles with quite volatile material.
Really?
But,
That's what you thought? Oh, okay. I was thinking, anyways, if it originally was actually a launcher that launched moles, it was because they couldn't get to a particular area they needed to mine, so they launched the moles dig. But that's just me. Then again, anyways, I mean, so
of course, at the same time, if you think about it that way, man, that'd be so bad of an idea.
really,
Because
and
all I can
launching
see
moles
is
from a grenade launcher
switch.
isn't a bad idea. You're still
Well, I
launching
can only
moles.
just see like them launching, going, "You get to dig, launch it," and then all you see is like this squish.
You're right. It
You're
does sound like
slamming a rodent into rock.
that sounds like something the orcs would actually come up with. Except for instead of moles,
They
they'd be
do.
using grots. No.
What
That
they
is
do,
different.
they just use grots.
No. They
And
suck them
wait.
first into the warp, anyways, to get them like
No.
mobilized,
That's
and then
something else
shoots them
entirely.
back out.
But we aren't talking about that right now.
No. So I think, anyways, the reason why it's called the mole grenade launcher is because it's like a bunker buster. So when you shoot this grenade towards something, anyways, it drives in before it detonates. That would make more sense, right? Than actually launching the rodent, anyways, towards the enemy. Although that does sound significantly more fun. But I digress. Wouldn't you agree with me, Yuksen? That's probably why they call it the mole grenade launcher.
Yeah, and it would explain the reason why originally it was repurposed mining equipment.
Right. So who uses it now?
Now they give them to their berserker forces. So
Well, I guess that
now,
makes sense.
if somebody really loses it, they have a nice hefty object that they can wield.
Normally, don't they have like an axe head on the back end of it or something?
No,
No. Oh, well, that would make sense.
that would be a Necron thing.
Well, yeah. We already discussed, anyways, how that doesn't make any sense. I mean, okay. The difference why I would think it would make more sense with this grenade launcher as opposed to the gauze weapons is because this, anyways, you've already got somebody who's lost their mind. And it's like, well, you might as well give them something sharp on it so they can just kind of use it. But so is this also kind of a commonplace weapon, or is this very specialized to these Chthonian berserker folks?
It's just generally exclusive for them.
Well, this has all been very interesting. And I'd say, Yuksen, though, now our time really is up. Join us next week, folks, as we discuss a couple of famous kin and some of the more important leagues of the Votann.
Yes, and if you liked our vlogs, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and follow.
Indeed. And if you have any questions that you would like us to cover at the end of the month, feel free to send them to our website at www.asharaka.com.
Yes, that's www.asharaka.com.
Thank you, Yuksen. And as always, this is Zeckthar.
And Yuksen.
Signing off.